The officer in question is Michael Hammond. We're changing the order of the agenda on this one. We're dealing with the listed building consent order first. So,
I'm number 10.
sorry, we're dealing with the full application first. So number 10 is the item we're discussing, but it's pretty well the same as number 9. So Mr. Bailey, you might wish to address your remarks to both applications, the listed building consent as well as the full application. Are you happy to do that?
I am, sir.
Right, when we come to it. Okay, so Michael, are you going to introduce this item, please?
Thank you, Chair. So this application seeks full plan permission as well as listed building consent for demolition of ancillary buildings and removal of the 1930s facade.
Microphone.
Sorry, something is being pointed out to me and I'm not sure what it is.
Microphone, please.
It was
So,
I think, yeah. Construction of a replacement facade, reinstatement, refurbishment of historic features, enlargement of the existing cafe, reopening of the footlights entertainment centre in the basement, demolition of squash courts and unlisted free-to-fire around Church Street, which are within the conservation area, construction of a new link building for access ancillary uses for the Union Society, the construction of an adjacent new building to host 45 postgraduate student accommodation rooms, and a cafe/restaurant below that. I'll run through the drawings. So this is the historic core conservation area appraisal. So the main basing chamber, for reference, is approximately in here. This is all one listed building. The Waterhouse building along here. This is the round church here, with Bridge Street running up there. So you've got Round Church Street running through here, Park Street along here. You've got listed buildings as well as buildings of local interest opposite. And these are marked, buildings of demolition marked as positive buildings, but we don't have any listed or BLI status. So it's just an aerial view of the site looking south. So this is the Union Society in here. So this is the basing chamber here. This is the round church. So if I go through the next one. So the main demolition works relate to removing this, the later addition, 1930s facade here, removing the squash courts and removing these 3 rent properties back here. Also some other, removing some other features within here, but the basing chamber is largely untouched, as well as the main sort of historic fabric of this building. And so this is looking west, so the Park Street listed cottages opposite, as well as BLI's. It's Park Street car park, you can see immediately next to it. So this is a view from Park Street looking back at the site. So these are the buildings to be demolished. This is the squash courts also to be demolished. Taken from the corner close to the Park Street car park. Just looking down Grange Street from Park Street. And looking the reverse direction, so you can see the squash court building on the right here. And then further towards the Bridge Street junction. So this 1930s facade will be removed as part of this. So it's not very clear site plan, I'm afraid, but the main works relate to, there will be a linking element in here, connecting, opening up the Union Society, and then this will be the main block where the student accommodation will be, as well as the new cafe below it. Members may recall, back in November 2016, there was a similar application to this, which was for 38 student rooms, but a very similar development. Ultimately, what's happened is some of the land, Trinity College, who are planning on building out this element, have taken over part of this sort of portion here, this sort of square here. It's effectively an extra bay on that. I'll go through the plans, which probably have better context. So that's the reason there's been these changes. It's different from what was approved previously. So this is the basement plan. So you have Round Church running at the top here for reference. So footlights here. And then toilet block, etc. and then sort of the services for the commercial unit, cycle storage for the student accommodation in here. So this is the ground floor plan. So this thick black line in here is where the Trinity College have used some of that land given over by the Union Society. That's where the main difference is, and as a result, the entrance has been quite narrow and shifted further across. There's also been changes to how it's laid out and accessed. But other than that, the application is relatively similar. There are minor sort of works in listed building which conservation are happy with subject to conditions. So first floor plans, so this is where the student accommodation starts up here. So the new rooms have effectively in a new space they've created. So you can data chamber where you put the views down there, it's right here. So it's the second floor, again, all student accommodation above. Again, third, almost mirroring. And fourth, where it's set in the roof scape instead. So it's probably the best way to show you differences. So what's on top is what was approved in November 2016. You see there was a glazed linking element, and then the plan sort of bookends the end of the waterhouse here, and the Trinity one finishes there. So what's happened as well as blue line is the land has been given over to Trinity College, and they've extended that by effectively an extra bay width. This has changed to a stone, more of a lightweight linking element which overhangs below. Urban design and conservation team are happy with that amendment, and they're also much happier that the hip of the original waterhouse has been reinstated, whereas previously that wasn't. So that's a positive that's come out of this. And looking from Park Street side, the main change, again, this is the colour detailing is a graphic issue, there's nothing drastically changing there. The main change is that the bin store door has been widened and reorientated slightly, and the public artwork, this bronze cladding that's going to come down, has been extended. Previously it was a large glaze only, but that's been brought down. The courtyard dormers, which are going to be reinstated, they were lost during the World War II. They're not changing at all, they're still going to be reinstated as part of this. And this is where they will be disabled. Currently there's no easy access into the bar, cafe is already there. They're proposing to put a ramp in to provide access into there. So this is one of the main changes to the new link design. So again, got a stone parapet overhanging, but there's still a lot of glazing behind that. And this is looking from Park Street. This elevation is obviously extending further, is relatively similar to what was approved previously, oriel windows here. And this is looking from the corner junction further up Park Street, so you can see the overhanging element here and the extra bay width coming in here. So it's very small, I couldn't get any zoomed in this, but just comparing the floor plans of what's approved and what's proposed. So previously the toilet blocked by Cllr, for example, it's mainly about this black line here coming further across. There has been there's more cycle parking spaces, for example, for the students of Trinity College. Other than that, very minor internal changes which the conservation team are happy with. On the ground floor, which is where you probably noticed it the most, previously there was one long open sort of passage, if you would, going through the site. Now this has to be narrowed because of that, but there is still disabled access that works through. And there's lifts, for example, to get up to the high floors, which aren't currently there, so it's still quite a significant improvement for disabled access. Other than that, yeah, again, just more space for the cafe proposed here. And then looking at the first floor, again, it's just additional mass coming in here and narrowing of that central element. And similar at second floor, there's previously a terrace proposed here, but that's gone now. So Again, nothing drastic really. And this is further where you can see additional, where they've gained extra land. But also, Chair, the design and conservation team is satisfied with the scheme that's come in, proposal was approved, and approval was recommended some conditions.
Just before you step down, I would like you to clarify, if you would please, one point which I was rather concerned about in terms of the information you were supplying. Can you go back to the Park Street elevation, which shows the bin?
This one?
Yes. So, I'm so sorry, would you explain how the approved, which is the one above, shows, how the proposed, which is the one below, improves upon the one above, which is the approved, with respect to bin storage?
Yes, sir. It's effectively this timber
Ah,
fence
right,
here.
okay.
The bins will be stored behind there.
Fine.
That's the main change, really. Yeah.
Where were they, and previously?
You see these double doors here?
Yeah.
They were stored internally instead there, but they're still behind the screen, but it's not an enclosed screen.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Bailey. Now, Mr. Bailey, you should know that you have 6 minutes if you wish, because you were down to speak on 2 applications. So please do take your time and feel that you've got 6 minutes if you need it.
Thank you, Chair. Good morning. Thank you for the opportunity to address the committee on behalf of the joint applicants, the Cambridge Union Society and Trinity College. I'm actually the bursar of the Cambridge Union Society. Now, this committee unanimously approved our application last year for a development of a fundamentally similar nature. Unfortunately, the union's fundraising scheme did not deliver the money we hoped, and we had to amend our original scheme to what we can afford, which is the proposal before you now. You should feel assured that the nature, purpose, and the quality of the original application remains intact. And at its essence, this still seeks to secure the future of the Cambridge Union Debating Society. The partnership between the Union and the Trinity College represents the culmination of many years of work to find a solution that would allow the refurbishment of this unique building, replace past harms, and make the building fit for the present and, of course, the future of the Union. The proposal before you has benefited from the extensive engagement of the last application, as well as further close working with your officers to establish these changes. As a result, the officers consider that the changes, compared with the approved application, have no significant bearing. All the benefits from the previous application are maintained, and significantly, reinstatement of the hipped roof benefit for heritage assets. These changes principally affect the round Church Street elevation, extending the student accommodation building and removing the previously proposed new gabled bay addition to the union. The proposal now retains more of the original Waterhouse design and introduces a new entrance, a positive change agreed with your design and conservation officer and recognised positively by both the Victorian Society and Historic England. Importantly, it will meet the future needs of the Union in full and include the following substantial benefits. Firstly, securing the future of the Historic Debating Society, one of only 2 historic purpose-built structures in the country. Secondly, refurbishing and reinstating the lost features to the building, as well as removing the poorly conceived and poorly built 1930s interventions. Thirdly, providing a public face onto round Church Street for the Union and inclusive access to its buildings, including lifts and disabled access throughout. Fourthly, by adding to the vibrancy of the city centre through the Trinity Building's new restaurant, the Union's expanded cafe bar, and the basement venue, which is the former home of Cambridge Footlights. Fifthly, the Trinity Building provides modern, high-quality graduate student accommodation, which in turn, lastly, allows Trinity College to release converted student properties elsewhere in the city back for private housing. As it stands before you and as supported by your officers, we consider the application overwhelmingly represents a positive change for the city through its substantial benefits. And I respectfully request that the committee support this application.
Thank you, Mr. Bailey. Can I start by saying that I'm delighted that this proposal has come before us. I rather feared that when we heard that the previously granted permission had fallen by the way that we would lose it. Well, we haven't lost it, we've got it, but with considerable improvements. So I think the first thing to say is that we're delighted that Trinity and the Cambridge Union Society have been able to amend the scheme, whatever the balances of advantage that have been distributed between them, and that we've now got this scheme before us, which principally removes some of the eyesore along around Church Street. I think it very considerably improves the perspective onto Park Street Terrace. I didn't like that glazed element at the end of the building, and I think that's another very great improvement. I thought Mr. Bailey was a little optimistic in saying that he had the support of the Victorian Society. The Victorian Society contribution is a pretty damning one, but it's also wildly inaccurate in my view. When it talks about taking its reference, taking its cue from the Park Street car park, I think this is just comic gone mad. So I'd also repeat that I think one of the major advantages of this scheme is that it opens up round Church Street as a place that tourists will want to visit, and because of the restaurant and other agreeable facilities that are going to be provided. And in making that remark, and just for clarification, because I know it will be misrepresented, I'm not here arguing for more and more tourism. I'm saying that given the crushing numbers of people who come to the city, it is good that they're more widely distributed than they presently are. And that's all I'm saying. And now, open to members. Councillor Hart.
It's just a quick question, just for clarification. Going back to the bin store, that's something I noticed. You got there first. On the plans, it shows. Sorry. It shows it's sort of opening out onto the highway, onto the path. With green area halfway down, and I just wanted. There we go. I just wanted a reassurance that the area would be the screening would there'd be management of those bins. And that some kind of management, as in that the gates are actually, the screening is actually closed, because we've got so many of these massive bin stores all around the city, and I just think that would be quite nice if that could be kept. I don't necessarily locked, but a way that it's kept shut, if that can be managed somehow.
There's always going to be the period after a collection where the bins might be temporarily left on the footpath or whatever, but the hope is that they'll be quickly removed and reinstated. Is there any other contribution? Yes, Councillor Smart.
So when you say your glowing report, I presume you meant I, not we. You spoke about we support it and such like, but you're speaking about yourself, aren't you? What do you think?
I was referring to the decision that the committee made unanimously on the last application.
Oh, I thought you were speaking about this application. So I think last time we thought it was quite a large-scale building, close to especially Park terrace, specifically this sort of little houses along the bottom there. And that was a concern. This proposal is a larger building in respect of the number of bedrooms in it for students. It goes up from 38 to 45. It's interesting that Bill talks about saving money but building more accommodation. I suppose you could say it's saving money by getting more revenue going forward. But it is concerning when applicants don't get it right in the first place and come back to us with effectively a bigger scheme, hoping they'll get again an acceptance of the scheme. So just a note there to say that it would be good to get it right first time, please, not to come back again and try and get some more. However, the sort of enlargement of it, in a sense, is along the main street, not along the bottom by the little houses. So I think that sort of concern about it jutting up against the grade 2 listed houses, I think, at the bottom, is not effectively a concern. And I do think the building does look reasonably good, especially on that bottom facade. Although I would myself think that the sort of joining piece in the middle, which is a classic architectural technique, doesn't really work very well. I would have thought two buildings, the old one and the new one, would work better together. However, we have on the table. Just on that stone bit that juts out onto over the pavement there, cantilevers over the pavement, I presume it doesn't actually cantilever over the public highway, because that's a concern. Any building in Cambridge I've seen that juts out over it tends to get knocked into by a lorry. I've seen it all over the place happen, so I'm hoping that won't happen in this case, and the officer can reassure me on that. The timber screen around the bins seems a bit cheap as a way of enclosing those bins. Is it going to be a hardwood timber screen, really nicely built or something, or is it just a cheap softwood construction? On this site, in this place, I would have expected something more than that. Yeah, that's it. Thank you, Chair.
Are there any other questions? Right, Michael, would you like to come back and deal with those, please?
Yeah, on the bin storage, in terms of making sure those doors are shut and that not left open, for example, we do have condition 27, I believe it is, which covers waste management and how that's going to be managed basically. So I think we have scope to secure that in whatever they decide to submit. In terms of the going over the highway, no, because the entrance itself is actually recessed back, so that's kind of going level with the building line. So it's not going over the road as such. No, highways are happy with it as well. In terms of, sorry, my mind's just gone blank. There's one final point, Councillor Smart raised, and I was going to go back to it. Just trying to blank, sorry. Timber, that's it, sorry. I took this earlier, I'm sorry, 10 twice. Yes, I mean, I don't know the precise finish of what they're doing, but I imagine it'll be encompassed again in boundary treatment, hard and soft landscaping conditions, but I don't know exactly what finish is going to be, I'm afraid, so sorry about that.
And that's the bricks, presumably.
That part of the building will be at the Trinity end, so to speak. Dare I say, I would expect Trinity College to have a respect to standards on the public highway or visible from the public highway. Let's hope so, but we're not going to condition this. We're just going to trust that they will be sensible about the materials that they choose. Councillor Blanker.
As Councillor Smart has raised it, I would hope that it would be complementary to the bricks, as in not something that's so sort of out of keeping with the run down that stretch.
Well, these are all interesting qualms that we might have about this, but it's substantially, I do take the view that this is an improvement on the previous scheme, and the previous scheme was pretty good, so this is downward. I would like now to put this matter to the vote. Those in favour, please indicate. Unanimous. Now, we'll go straight to number 9, which is the listed building consent. And Michael, I'd like you to introduce this, please.
Chair, I don't think there's much more to me to add beyond and above my original presentation. The works are effectively the same, so for speakers. I won't go through the presentation again if that's okay.
That's more than okay, more than okay.
So we're looking at number 9 as if, having heard everything relevant to it in the discussion of number 10, so I'm prepared to go straight to the vote, and by goodness we're going to finish early today. Those of you who are in favour, please indicate. Thank you so much. We will reassemble at 1 o'clock.